Well, howdy, Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. Once again, it's raining here in Shelton. It was raining last night when I went out walking. Holy smokes. It gets dark early now, and it gets light very late, so oh boy. And SADS, seasonal affective disorder syndrome, those people who are affected by the lack of sunlight, has just been kicking my backside to the curb these last couple. Oh, joy. Hopefully you're doing well, though. That would be a thumbs up on that. A good thing. I have been existing. Things are good that way. My kitty cat keeps falling asleep in the window, and that's good. She's a good kitty. She's an old lady. That's, it's better to be an old person and exist than to not. I mean, all of life is the long defeat. Nobody gets out of this one alive. But hey, it happens. We all leave our death flowers bloomed behind us when we go. And that's a good thing. And of course, to front load the video, hey, if you could interact with the good lord, if you could interact with the YouTube algorithms and hit that like button if you like what you see and hear, that would be very, very cool. If you have not subscribed and you do like what you see and hear, if you could subscribe, that would be very awesome. A definite thumbs up. And of course, I do want to thank each and every one of my patreon.com patrons. These people leave me alive, and that is good. I am on disability, limited income, and it's not doing it. These people are keeping a roof over my head, food in my belly, and my pets alive. Thank you all so very, very much. And if you could become a Patreon patron, that would be very awesome. Links are in the video description, so thumbs up for that, and thank you all. Yay, front loading of videos. YouTube algorithms. Such is life, though. But yes, I have been existing, which is good. I had therapy yesterday, which, when I talk about how stuff gets dragged up, this is not, unique to me. My therapist has described every human mind as a deep lake. All of our memories are dropped inside of that lake. There's memories you like, memories you'd rather forget, but they're all inside of that lake. And when there's also, don't want to jump ahead of this, there is a lot of fishing line that is just loose and it's tangled, and some of it untangles from the currents and tangles around other stuff. So when you're thinking of things about, why is this happening? Or why did I do this thing here? You drag up a memory to think about it. Well, it might be just you're trying to drag up a memory of that tricycle, because it might have something to do with what you're thinking about. But dragging up that memory of the tricycle also drags up this memory, Titanic-sized, of the person that used to abuse you when they gave you that tricycle. And so, you were only thinking about this, but now this big old memory has come pulled up near to the surface. You've got to spend some time waiting for those things to settle back down. And that's everybody. Every single person. It's just that I have become more aware of it after therapy. So after therapy, I give myself some downtime so I can let things settle back down. And so that's largely what I try and do. But, thumbs up. So I had therapy. We talked about stuff, and hopefully things are good. They are good for me. Hopefully things are good for you. It is a definite thumbs up. There are some other things that have nothing to do with anything that I want to talk about, simply because I am fascinated by everything. And learning is good. That actually helps your brain. When you stop learning, it hurts. You need to keep learning as best you can. It does help stave off things like dementia and the like. So keep your mind active. Keep learning. It does help you, and really and truly, for your health. But one of the things that I was learning, I had often wondered about this myself, with the visual receptors in our eyes. It is true that you only detect movement with your visual receptors, that you only perceive change. If you're looking at a static image and nothing changes, you will not really see anything. But that is why, and I can't remember the term for it, your pupils are always moving. You can't keep them straight at just one object. They're always shifting and darting no matter what you do, so that they can detect movement and change. They refresh, and then they're able to detect and see if there's movement, any sort of change. And that's quite awesome, because I had wondered about that, because I had noticed, our eyes are drawn to movement, but what happens if there's just something like a color change or a brightness change and just an intensity of something with no movement? Your eye is still drawn to it, but it's not movement. And it's that sort of thing. Your pupil's always moving around so it can detect the changes. Physics, the human body. It's all amazing. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's thumbs up. Good stuff all around. Yay. So I just learned that like yesterday. A lot of stuff I've learned in the past, and then with my ADHD forgotten, so I'm relearning, but that's fine. It's a good thing. Definitely a thumbs up on that. And also, this one I just remembered. I learned it a long time ago, but then only fairly recently had I seen videos of it. And it just strikes me, the differences between species and the differences in social constructs. Because of all the animals in the world, most critters out there consider baring your teeth to be a sign of aggression. If you bare your teeth at a dog, unless it's learned because of domestication that that's a smile, it's going to treat that as aggressive. If you meet a strange dog, if you smile, show teeth, aggression. Other animals show teeth, it's aggression. It's a sign that you're going to attack. Primates, no. And pretty much the higher, quote unquote, higher order, the more organized, I guess. I don't know a good way to put it, but the more, because there's no real higher orders of everything. All life on the planet is just a web. But the greater order is what we would call in biology, how they're classified. The higher orders of primates all smile, bare their teeth. And the ones that bare their teeth at each other more often are rewarded more often socially than those that don't. And it's really weird to see it among chimps. Because literally, to us, it does not look like a smile. They have great big old teeth. We're used to the shape of the human mouth, but they just pull their lips way back and bare their teeth at everybody else. And it's really weird just to see a chimp turn it. Great big old baring of teeth at another one. But they're smiling. That's what they do. That's what we do. We got our smile from our cousins. And that's amazing that baring our teeth at each other shows that we're happy and not aggressive. It's still kind of cool, and I like learning things, and it's just really interesting to watch. So definitely a thumbs up on that. Good thing. Yay. Plus, you have to watch out. Chimpanzees and such, they can... People keep chimps as pets, and people work with pets, and not pets. People work with chimpanzees for movies and such like that, but you don't want to get a chimpanzee mad. They don't often do this particular thing. Most often they just beat on you and then chew your face off. But if they get mad, they are strong enough. They could rip your arm off easily and then beat you to death with it. So don't dare... Be careful. They look funny. They're not. Ugh. Yay. But then I also did see something. I talked a few weeks back or a few days back, I can't remember now, how an idea for another cosmic horror setting on Earth popped into my head when I saw a beekeeper post a thumbnail for their bee stuff. I had been thinking about something. Odd ideas on and off in my head that you've heard me talk, maybe if you're new you haven't, but if you have, you've heard me talk about the weird ideas I have for my fictional stuff. Somebody made, it looks like a one-time, from what I've been able to see of their channel, a one-time video. Well, they've been working on it more now, but up to then they had done a whole bunch of stuff, and then there's been a scattering of this new stuff. but it's the budget museum, and it was so close to being perfect in my view from what I had seen. It is a non-existent museum, and it's even more non-existent now, but it didn't exist, but there have been all these problems, and so this non-existent museum has had to shut down, and they're working on all this stuff, but it's so close on that idea for me. It's an interesting idea, and I like it, because even though it's a non-existent museum, you know, they've had money laundering issues, etc., etc. I love that idea, except I want it to be that further step. It's a non-existent museum that you're going to break ground on and build, but it doesn't exist. But it's still taking a lot of time, because you need the non-existent permits. You got to go out and get the non-existent resources all lined up. You got to line up the non-existent labor. It's taking time to get this thing done. When you can finally break ground and start work on the non-existent museum, well, hopefully it won't take long to get built. And this is all hard work, a lot of effort, a lot of non-existent resources that have to be shuffled from one place to another. And it's just, when they finally break ground, it's going to be good. There's no physical place they're breaking ground, but it's going to be good. So of course, I'm going to have to expend more effort dealing with this idea as soon as I've worked more on some other stuff. Because, to lead into this, I've been thinking a lot about the King and Crimson of the Crimson Kingdom, because when on the whole inside, outside, and the Razor's Edge, you can, from the Razor's Edge, drive to what is known as the crossroads that takes you inside to the three major kingdoms that are directly available. There is the Crimson Kingdom to the east, and you can enter and go into the Western Borough. Of course, there's the Pale Domain, the domain of the Pale King to the north, and off to the, yeah, it would be, I get the directions. I have cardinal directions as an issue in my head. Another great thing that's a wonderful stuff. But the first one's off to the west, to the east. So you go off to the west, and it's the Association of Sovereign States, which is more like Europe. It's a whole bunch of states that are, or nations that are kind of at each other's throats, but not, because they have to stick together to survive, so they don't always like each other, but you gotta stick together. And that sort of mix of associated states, not really like the United States. It's more like a slightly more rowdy modern Europe. With, I mean, consider what they're going through with the whole Brexit thing in the UK. Is like, imagine that spread over the entirety of the whole of Europe, and then double or triple it, and that's the Association of Sovereign States. They're getting along together. They're not always happy about it, but they're a union. Even though they don't like that guy over there right now. So there's all of that going on. But right now, I've been dealing a lot with the King in Crimson, because it is a powerful being, and there is, in my cosmic framework, there's a difference between being a powerful being and being a power. If you're a powerful being, you're like a bear. You were born like a bear. You're very strong, and you can learn to be more like a bear, and you can become more and more like that bear until you have maxed out your bearness. But you're a bear. You're not anything more than a bear. You're a very powerful, very bearish bear, but you're just a bear. It realizes it's a bear. It knows that something is coming, and that when it won't be able to learn. And when it is no longer able to learn, it hopes it has the intelligence at that point to be able to step down, because you have to. It loves its kingdom. It is a brilliant and amazing machine, and it wants that machine to run as long as possible after it stops living, and it will at some point. But when you stop learning, you stop adapting to a changing world. And so all of your thought processes are to a world that no longer exists. So when the data from the new stuff comes in, it automatically gets run through thought processes that no longer apply, and the answer that you give out to the people is not appropriate to the situation, unhappiness grows, and when unhappiness grows, there's going to be a deposition, and if that's going to happen, likely there's violence, and what machine can survive that? So it hopes that when it reaches the point it can no longer learn, it can step down, let someone else come in. It will be the beginning of the end for the kingdom. It may only last decades or centuries or millennia afterward, but without it at the helm, it's not going to continue growing as it had been, and it will change and fall apart, and that'll be it. But better it continues as long as possible than just dies in violence. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab, and I'm going to go through and thank as many people have left me comments. There's never many anymore, but as long as there's more than zero, thank you all so very, very much. It is appreciated. If I mispronounce a username, no disrespect is intended. And even though I count in American Sign Language, oy vey, with my ADHD and more, hokey smokes. We have Craft Gamers PLYX, who is trying to be sarcastic and hurt me, but I lean into the fact that I'm turning 59 next week. Calling me old doesn't make me feel bad. I am. Kurai Abernathy, thumbs up and thank you so very much. It's good to see you in the comments. We have Lucas Nulasco, I sure hope I'm close, and thank you very much. John Mara, greatly appreciated. And then we have Declan Coyle, I sure hope I'm close. Thank you very, very much. Sebastian Ferris, always good to see you in the comments and thumbs up. We have Mike, MICHALSONTOZIOMAL, thumbs up and thank you very, very much. We have, I still can't pronounce your name, but Guillermo Sjogstatlingas, even though I'm nowhere close, thank you very, very much and good to see you in the comments. We have Captain Jupiter, greatly, greatly appreciated. There is Gree N, thumbs up, and that is it. 10 people left me comments in the past 24 hours. You got me out of my head and into the world to deal with real people, if only in text and if only for a short time. It is appreciated. Thank you very, very much. And of course, if you could check out my various links down below, I say down below, but I don't know what device you're watching this on, so I do not know where the video description is. But inside, of course, I have links to things like all of my other channels and links to my Twitter, my Facebook, my Patreon. If you could become a patreon.com patron like one of these beautiful and awesome people, that would be truly beautiful and awesome. I mean, literally, I do not make enough money to live off of my disability, and I'm broken. I can't work. If you can help keep me alive, it is greatly, greatly appreciated. If you'd like to help me out without becoming a patron, I do have a PayPal link. I'm not above grubbing for any spare cash you can throw my way. When you got next to nothing, anything helps, so thumbs up on that. If you'd like to help me out without sending any financial monies, I can't think of any other kind of monies there are, but if you'd like to help me out without doing any of that, I have an Amazon PayPal. I have an Amazon wish list link. I've put a bunch of cat food on there lately. If you could take a look at that, that would be very awesome, and thank you very, very much. Now, of course, do not feel obligated. I do not feel entitled, and if you cannot or you simply do not donate, I take all good wishes and I deposit them in the bank of my heart where I draw interest, so thank you very much. If you could toss me a like, I appreciate all the positive validation I get from my existence. A very thumbs up to that as well. And of course, if you could hit the notification bell on the subscription button, that would be very cool. Thank you very much. Hokey smokes. I'm having troubles, greater troubles than normal with my dentures today. Yay! So, remember to seek creativity. Keep your brain working. Stave off dementia for as long as possible. Seek positivity. Being negative only hurts you and those around you. And seek balance. Not too much good, not too much bad. Right in the middle. Moderation in all things. So, with the Gofefe bug still raging, although things are starting to get better in some places, so thumbs up for that. But if you don't have to go out amongst the masses, try not to. If you do, please wear a mask, maintain your social distancing, wash your hands often, try not to touch your face. Get vaxxed if you haven't, and you can. Get a booster if it's available to you and you're in the group of people that can get it. And my hamster is just chewing and chewing on this little water bottle thing and making a lot of noise. He's awake, but he's going to go right back to bed, so I don't want to bother him right now. He's just drinking and chewing. Little ghost, he's a good guy. So, you take care. Have a great day today. Now, we'll see you on the flip side. And that is, quite frankly, a very loud hamster.